Yeah, can everybody see the screen I'm sharing right now?
Yeah, we could see the screen.
Okay, great. Okay. Just a really quick bio about myself. So my name is Bowen. So I went to high school and I went to high school in Colorado, college at NYU, math and econ major, and I was blockchain analyst at GenFund, and I started the one of the very first Asian decentralized exchange and margin trading decentralized exchange DDEX back in the very beginning of 2017 in December. And right now I'm kind of running a virtual studio called Smrti Lab with my some of my DDEX team as well. So I'm just gonna kind of like introduce one of my friends' project. It's called Synfutures. So it's a permissionless listing derivative exchange on top of Arbitrum. And so kind of like the key features they have at the moment is that they only use Sushi as their oracle at the moment, so they can basically kind of like create corresponding derivative markets with any kind of trading pairs if Sushi has, and they can list it with permissionless listing within like 30 seconds as long as the ERC20 contract works. And they are also doing a kind of like synthetic AMM, so the LPs can only need to deposit one single token. Basically, they don't have to have a trading pair to kind of embrace the impermanent loss. The mechanism behind that is basically they use half of your LP tokens to kind of like a hash in the opposite directions. And also their third point is basically kind of like a new feature, which is they're launching kind of first ever NFT derivatives to using NFT price floor as a oracle to kind of like bid against price up or down. And they are also kind of extensive background in terms of both TradeFi and DeFi space. Like their founder Rachel, it used to be a founding partner at the Matrix Port, and Ijo was a good friend of mine. He used to work at Singapore Nomura. He was a FX trader, which is from a very traditional finance background, and he used to be started his own company called Do Network back in 2018. So right now they are kind of like deploy Synfutures on different networks. So like Polygon's BSC, Arbitrum at the moment. The kind of like the UI is pretty straightforward. It's just basically you have a balance, very much like a Bybit style. So you can see like the following screens is basically using the Sushi Oracle like a West USDC or Matic USDC, and kind of like as an oracle to do the tradings. Or they are developing on perpetual at the moment as well, and so that's kind of like the things they're developing. So right now they are kind of beta testing on Arbitrum, and the point I really like is basically they kind of like avoid something that Uni has at the moment. So they kind of like support the single digital currency for LP, and they have a permissionless listing. And they also backed by kind of exchange and market makers like Wintermute and WooTrade. So they have efficient liquidity, and also they can mirror the order book from Bybit as well. So that's pretty much a very quick introduction pitch I have, since everyone has been talking about all the established ones. So I'm just telling people something new at the moment.
Right, thanks so much. And actually, I have a question. So right now, I think the derivatives exchange platform are not in mainstream yet. So what do you think is a problem or the barrier that hinders everybody, like the traders entering the decentralized derivatives exchanges? Why they're still playing on those evil centralized exchanges right now, and why this one is not booming like the DEX is like Sushi Swap or Uniswap? Yeah.
Yeah. So well, I was just having dinner with co-founder of Bybit this today, and so right now like the main difficulties at the moment is basically kind of like it's very hard to it's first thing first. Let's talk about like DYDX since it's just starting their governance token minting at the moment. DYDX has a really thin liquidity on top of their order book because they mirror the Coinbase order book, but with a relatively small inventory since only Wintermute are market making on that and their own market maker as well. So the bid ask buy one sell one, the size is relatively small. So like most of the takers cannot take that small size since let's say Eraser has like 20 Bitcoins mined out every single day, and they have to kind of like hedge it your position on daily emissions, but you cannot hedge it with a maybe like 0.2 Bitcoins short on DYDX. So liquidity thin liquidity is one kind of like difficulty for this kind of like hedging circumstances happening on DEXs. So that's one thing, and the second thing is that I have been talking to the co-founders of Synfutures about this kind of money Lego composition. That if I can hash my Uniswap in permanent loss on top of Synfutures, and if they have like a one button kind of like deposit to help me to hedge the position in permanent loss, that would be great. So they have been working on this kind of like this kind of one click impermanent loss hedging strategies on top of Synfuture at the moment. But since like Perpetual is on XDAI and DYDX was on Starkware, so it's fairly impossible to do that. But right now, like since everyone is moving to Arbitrum and they have like Sushi on Arbitrum, they have Synfuture on Arbitrum. So that's kind of like a one chain money Lego will be possible after the mass adoption for Arbitrum or any kind of layer 2 protocol at the moment. So I do anticipate that will be one potential upside for the user adoptions, since like there's already like a $10 billion TVL in Uni and Sushi LP pool. So I would say that that's gonna be a killer feature in my perspective.
All right, thank you so much. Anybody else?
Hey, Bowen, this is Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Yeah, do you mind to share your view on like how Synfutures compared to other like competitors apart from DYDX, like Perp or what else is already launched market? Yeah.
Well, Perp, DYDX, and MCDEX as well. I think the founders of MCDEX is also in our validated out candidate. Kind of like I basically know 4 of the founders personally. So I'm just gonna talk kind of like talking things depends on their experience and their working experience. So DYDX, Antonio from DYDX is the Coinbase margin product developers. So he develops things very much Coinbase, very smooth interface, very easy kind of like step onboarding experience, and they mirror exactly same Coinbase Pro liquidity. So that's their edge. Perpetual is developing things mainly from a engineer background, so they only use things that they are available, like XDAI at that moment in the beginning of 2021. And since they cannot provide liquidity by introduce market maker with enough taker incentive, so they do a synthetic AMM, which is they don't require external liquidity. And also leave enough kind of like cash on the table for arbitrageurs to take, to create volume and take kind of like cash from Perp and let's say BMax or Bybit. Um, and Synfuture, so the co-founder of Synfuture used to be a FX trader from Nomura. So he developed the product more from a traditional finance background that he is always thinking about hedging circumstances, since there's not going to be a lot of users for derivatives, both on chain and off chain. Let's say even Bybit is the third largest exchange on the planet, but their traders are quite relatively few compared to FTX, and also compared to Binance as well. So Synfuture's design philosophy is mainly for this kind of like whales to hedge their position on chain, and they really do care about like cost efficiency. And if there's gonna be like a massive gas fee for withdraw and deposit, and also like on-chain transaction, most likely they won't come. And also the API kind of like structure that they have developed is more based on traditional finance architecture. So that's kind of like my take for these different derivative protocol at the moment.
Thank you. I do agree with you that there's not much like a retail users for derivatives right now, even both on chain and off chain. So I was actually talking with like Liu Jie and Rachel, I think a week ago, that in what way, because it's not like a swap that we can listing some long tail assets to attract the users coming out for fortune. So I was trying to figure out that apart from arbitrage, like what bring like actual users coming here, and can I have a follow-up question regarding that? You're talking about like Synfutures help those big whales to hedge their positions. So are you referring that they were going to list some like long tail like perps to help those whales to hedge some of the like asset unlocking in the locking period or something?
Yeah, let's say like Bybit DAO tokens is also using 90 days, but the TVL is about $100 million, and right now you can only trade on Gate and several small exchanges. And if you want to hedge that position, you can do it with the Sushi Miso IDO platform, and also their pool as well. So many of the tokens right now are mainly traded on DEXs, like the Loot derivative token AGLD, BitDAO, this kind of like IDO tokens, and Doge, the dog token, the Doge fractionalized FT token. So I see. I will anticipate that there's going to be many of the kind of like hedging necessity on Sushi or unique position in the future. So, but right now, like let's face the truth that perp may only have like 100 address trading on a daily basis. The UIDX maybe have a little bit more, but 500 address. Well, if like there's some people have like 5 address, there's just gonna be maybe 100 daily active users, but they contribute millions or hundreds of millions volume. So I would anticipate this kind of product is just mainly for whales at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think I'm the only one left here. Haven't done a presentation. So before I go on, anybody else with any comments on Bowen's presentation?
I just haven't seen Bowen for a long time, so
hello, Charlene, long time no see.
See him on live streaming, so that's good. Yeah, just want to add on some comments for the meeting overall today. I think this is brilliant, right? We really have the best crew from China today, and personally, I'm really impressed. And I think, you know, we have got some comments on Aladdin DAO community. Some people say, you know, that the feature for Aladdin DAO, right, this is a truly global community where the East meet the West, because we do have, you know, a number of people from China and also from US and Europe as well. And some people say it's actually a bug, right? Because it's just make it harder for people to connect and communicate across cultures and languages. And I think, from, the meeting we have today, and I think it's a feature for sure, right? And so we do see people that coming from, diverse background, and can bring all different expertise and perspective to the table, and to fulfill the purpose of the DAO. So I'm just